Hey there, today's video is about the knives that I have sold and then bought again. So these are my mistakes, my mistake sales that I have gradually rectified. Is there any more to rectify? I don't know, we'll see. We'll talk about it. Let's go to the table and I'll show you them knives. Alrighty, so I have the knife sickness, as you probably all are aware. A part of that is you're always watching the reviews and seeing the new things that excite you. Sometimes you see something that really excites you and you want to get it, but you look at your collection, you look at your bank balance, and you're like, man, I don't have the money to just buy it outright, and I like my collection, so what do? You keep consuming media about it, you get talked into it, and you say, you know what? Maybe I'll take a risk that I'll like this new thing more than one of my favorites, or one of my knives that I should really hold on to. So, I've done that with all of these. These are all at least second editions, some are third editions of those sales. So here we are. I'll start off with the Gerber Strongarm. So Gerber Strongarms, my journey with these started when I was a rather new reviewer. Gerber sent me some knives to review. And sure enough, I was a new reviewer, and I did what all the other reviewers were doing at the time, and I went straight to the torture testing, and had a Bear Grylls Ultimate Pro and a Strongarm and an LMF. And the Strongarm and the LMF passed my stupid stick it into a tree and stand on it test, and the Ultimate Pro did not. I didn't hear from Gerber ever again after that, because frankly it probably was a bit much. And but yeah, I do hope that I've sold some Strongarms for them again to make it up to them, because these are really good knives. I think I'll recommend these to anyone who's after just a basic survival knife or just a general Zuol knife. It's not perfect. They come pretty roughly finished. They are pretty thick behind the edge and just pretty thick and stout in general. Definitely not a knife for finesse, but they are definitely a knife for rough work. The durable steel on both of them, tough stainless steel. You'll be able to stick this into logs and pry and twist and all that sort of stuff with this 420HC or this BDZ one. You are really getting something that's going to be bomb-proof with a Strongarm. I sold mine because I go through my ebbs and flows with fixed blades. I'm unapologetic about it. You have to be a really good fixed blade to stick around with me. I actually have a lot of use for the Strongarm. I keep these in my shed and all sorts of odd jobs. I had one of them holding a I had drilled and screwed some like the walling of my shed back on together, and had some of this holding a part that I didn't want stuck together overnight, and it's one of those rough job knives rather, and I recommend one to anyone. And as soon as I sold mine, I was like, oh, I think I made a mistake. Bought one back, gave that one away, bought that back, sold it again, and then I bought this one, and then an awesome viewer sent me this one. So that's my Strongarm story so far. I'll be holding on to at least one of these for now, probably this one, most likely this one, for the long term. And you know what, I can't see this one going anywhere too soon either. Next up, the Spyderco Mantra, one of my favourite flipping knives. Really good knife. I had this, the ZT-0450, and the Lion Steel TRE. I sold all three of them, and this was the only one that I regretted selling. As good as the TRE was, especially, and the 0450s, it's a fine knife, but not for me. This is the one that I really enjoyed. It's got the Delica sensibilities, nice and neutral looking knife. Actually, very similar pattern to the Delica. And yeah, it does all the things I want it to do. It slices really well. It has a nice, good, exotic sort of steel, M4, rather than everything else, which is in S35VN. Titanium frame lock, really good action. These are not perfect knives either. This one, what happened with my original one is I took it apart because I was trying to get the centering correct, because the Spydercos with the old ball bearing systems don't center very well. I think they have fixed this since the Advocate thing. I think they have fixed the tracks or whatever it was. The action's still fine, but yes, there is a little bit of uncenteredness to it. So what I did with my first one, I took it apart and I made it worse, and I had to sell it at a severely discounted rate, saying, hey, I think this knife is a little bit off because of what I've done to it. So I ended up selling it for like 120 bucks or something, half the price. Yeah, I regretted that. I wished I'd kept it. I wished I'd perhaps persisted with it. So I've got this one very recently, and I'm really happy to have it back. The Manix 2, on the other hand, I don't really use this a great deal, but I had my original Maxim Manix 2. I sold it because I just wanted to move on to the next thing. This design, it's super practical. but it bores me a little bit. This one I am keeping though because it is an example of the steel, the Maximet steel, that is probably the highest edge retaining steel you can get in a standard production knife right now. And it's good to just have around. If I was after just a blander user knife, I'd choose the Lawman, which I'll get to in a second. But in terms of just me having an example of Maximet to pull out when I need to, this is the knife that's going to be staying with me. It's a good design, it's a great knife, it's comfortable, it's ergonomic. I like the lock, I can use it like an Axis lock. It's not as easy, but yeah, quite fond of it, but just still a little bland to me. The Delica is also kind of a bit the same. I keep this for size comparison, for lending out, for, you know, hey, you want to, I'm not sure if I want to get a good knife. Oh, here, try a Delica, see if you like it. And I'll say this to friends. And, you know, if you do, then maybe buy one of your own or get another Spyderco or whatever. Great first sort of decent knife to sort of show which way these things can go. It's not perfect. I would put a choil here rather than this awkward little spot here. You can sort of choke up on that, but it's awkward. And I would probably put a better steel in it if I could, but VG10 is absolutely fine. But yeah, it mainly sticks around just so I can put it in my videos next to the other knives. The American Lawman, the sale and rebuy of this, had its own video a fair while ago. These are excellent knives, and these are like the boring utility knives that I think everyone should have. Something like this, something you don't particularly care about. It's not super enjoyable to use or anything, but it'll just do the work. It's like the folding equivalent of the Strongarm. It'll just do the jobs. There's still an XHP for a little while longer. I would say pick one up. The black ones are hollow ground, the dark earth and the green ones are flat ground. See how much I had to remove, how much that bevel got taller when I converted this to a 17 degrees per side edge. Yeah, it's fine though, works really good, but it needed that. But still, really solid, good user knife. Great knife to lend to someone, to give to someone. It's familiar, it's just a lockback. It's great, it's just solid. The only thing I don't like about it is the pocket clip and this open area here, which can get fluff in it, which can sometimes make it not lock properly. But there you go. And the Spyderco Dragonfly, I've had two other Dragonflies before this one, a VG10. No, three others, a VG10, a H1, and a ZDP one. The H1 steel I just did not like. I don't have a need for H1 steel, given that my main knife is usually a Spidey Chef in LC200N. Dragonfly and ZDP came with a chip on it, and I just was bummed about that, and I just got rid of the knife. I don't know why. I got it sharpened out by a professional sharpener, but there you go. But this one, you know what? I think it's that British Racing green. I just don't like that colour. Whereas this, I love this burnt orange colour. This HAP 40 blade here is excellent. This has really been taking the spot of my Almar Falcon. My Almar Falcon's at the end of its life. It needs to be really profile back, or something needs to happen to it. I might Tormek it back and make it taller again or something. But my light sort of carry everyday knife has lately been this HAP 40 Dragonfly. I've been using it a lot. It's really good blade. And the steel's really awesome. It actually strops back to sharp really easily, so that's good. But the last knife, and the big one, I sold my Benchmade 940 to a friend of mine who really wanted a 940 but could never see himself springing 300 Australian bucks for a new one, to 450 for a 941. So I said, look, you can have it for 150 bucks. Mine's in really good nick, it's still sharp, it's got a couple of little pale spots in the aluminium, but that's about it. So I just helped a friend out and gave him a decent sale, and I felt good about it, and it was fine. I still have no regrets, but I just kept putting off getting a 940 again. Again and again, I'd get something different, until the other day when I sprung finally and got myself the 941. So the 941 is the G10 handled version of the 940, same steel, the S30V, not the upgrade. It's got green spaces, green standoffs, so you can see all the way through the knife, which is what I like. One thing I do like about the 940 standard, I think I liked the feel of the aluminium a bit more and the look of it, but I like to be able to clean it out. And I also like this isn't going to get all scuffed up like the aluminium did. So I think I've about broken even with how much I like this one versus the other one. So yeah, very happy to have a 940 back in my life. It is definitely my favourite pocket knife alongside the Spyderco Spidey Chef. These two are the big ones. These are the ones I'd suggest to, if you have to like what's my first awesome knife be. One of these two is what I'd say. But anyway, that's this video done. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you've enjoyed the discussion. Do you sell your knives and then regret it and then buy them back? I think we've all done it a couple of times, especially if you're the same level of knife wanker like I am. So at any rate, those are mine. My collection's modified just a little bit since the start of the year again, so I'll probably do a collection update video again soon. But yeah, oh, another one actually. Here it is, right here, the rake P801 SF. I have been through a few of these now as well, but I don't sell them, I give them away. But I found myself always wanting to have one on hand. So that's another last little addition there. So for size comparison with the 940, actually similar footprint knives really, the rake and the 940. Take about the same space in the pocket. 940 is about half the weight though. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one, dudes. Bye now.